Good day, everyone, and welcome to Disorganized Crafter. I'll show you a different use for the Stamperia mixed media cream paste. There's got to be something else we can use it for. So today we are going to use the Stamperia cream paste, and this is available at queenscraftfair.com. We got them mainly for the A5 molds that Stamperia, texture plates that Stamperia has come out with. But I'm like, hey, let's see what else we can use them for, right? So we're going to use the Stamperia cream paste. We are going to be using the Mechanics and Foundry 3D texture fades from Tim Holtz Sizzix. And we're also going to be using, y'all know my favorite, Crafter's Companion. And I'll show you those a little bit up close because they don't really have a good picture that I could find right now. But I will show you those up close. And these are going to go along with the Foundry and the Mechanics. So, if you haven't caught me before, this is the Disorganized Crafter YouTube channel. You can find me here, and you can find me on Facebook under Disorganized Crafter. I'm not that good at Instagram, but my Instagram is also Disorganized Crafter. Alright, so also the product for the cream paste can be found at Queen's Craft. So let's go ahead and get started. So I'm going to have my cream paste, and this is pretty light. I mean, like, seriously, it's like whipped cream. If you didn't know, if you didn't know that it was a cream paste, I would mistake it for like whipped cream. Seriously. Also, I am going to be using the Tim Holtz. Right now, I have one percolating, which is the Foundry. So, I'm going to use this one. And also, I don't know if y'all can see this very well. Let me see if I can get a darker background so you can see. Oh, here we go. Here you go. These are the Crafter's Companion by Sheena Douglas. And these go along with it. They're called Floral, a bundle, but they have a bit of a cogs, wheels, and time clocks in the background. So this is one of them. And they come in a set of 4 on HSN. We just got, at Queen's Craft Fair, just got our Crafter's Companion account. So we should be getting these in pretty soon. This one is floral with a time clock in the back. And this one is floral with a little bit of the cogs and wheels and chain. And this one, these are very cool. This one's going to go along great with the Foundry from Sizzix because it has the, I think it's wisteria or something. Crystal's good at this. I'm not. All I know is it's a flower and it's drooping. But this has the Foundry in the background, which is cool. And also, this is the other one, and this has the roses with the barbed wire. So we're going to see how this is going to look. And this one is actually dots. I don't know if I'm going to do this one, but just to let you know, Crafter's Companion does have the 3D and embossing folders, and this one is it's dots. So, and this is really easy to do. Now, just like the 3 bears or Goldilocks and the 3 bears, with cream paste, you can't put too little on and you can't put too much on. It's got to be just right. So I'm going to see if I can bring this camera actually down a bit. Sorry for the shaking. So that y'all can see this a little bit better. So, like I said, it's just like whipped cream. And you can see I've been using it a lot. Because I had to see if it worked before I did it. It's just like whipped cream. Oh my. Very, very, very light. And when you put it on, like I would usually put it on from left to right. I just find it a little bit better. And always leave a little bit on your spatula. You can use a spatula. You can use your palette knives. I'm using the Sizzix for the hot glue gun silicone spatula, so I won't burn myself. Okay, now now the problem with this that I have always found is that I have no patience. And you have to have patience for this because you have to let it dry. I usually let it dry overnight. I tried to use a heat gun with it. No go. Heat guns will not work at all. They'll do the top portion of it, but where you have your inset piece of it, it is not going to work. It's going to sit there and it'll just mess up your whole thing that you're trying to do. It will not come up in one piece, and you'll get little gaps, and I will show you that in a minute. So as you can see, you'll see that it is lightly covered. It's not too thick, but you can still see a little bit of it, and you just want to go over it really lightly and make sure that there's no exposed areas. Like here, you'll see that these are exposed. Well, that's not going to give you a good coverage. When it comes up, it's going to tear. So I just want to lightly go over that so I can make sure that there's a little bit, because this is going to be like a rubbery kind of texture. And you don't want to overwork it either, because I've done that. Believe me, I wasted a full bottle trying to do this. But you can see that it's covered, and all you need is a light coverage. And we're going to do this piece. And then I'm going to go over it again with just a little bit of cream paste on my spatula to give it a smooth texture. Again, you're going to use this. You can ink it. You can use sprays on it. You can use inks on it. You can use paint on it. I did use Lindy sprays on it. And I did use paint on it. And I messed up on it, so I had to redo it. And it takes it well. Does not lose its texture, y'all. Just saying. Does not lose the texture. So I messed up on it. And so I wiped it off again. And I repainted it like twice, because I was not satisfied with that color. So, all right. So what I want to do with when you're using, I'm going to try to do this with a stamp too. See how the stamp does. So what you want to do is you want to make sure you get a little bit in the edges, because you want to have a place to pull it up. So that's why I'm going all the way out to the edges. All right. So the good thing about this is that once you finish that side, you can do the other side. So that is a good thing. And it is not going to dry right away. Ugh, can't talk. So don't expect to use any kind of drying thing. Do not put your hand in it. Do not set your jar in it. I've done that. Do not put your whole hand in it. I went there and like, so make sure you put it in an area where you know you're not going to get anything in it. All right. So I'm going to give it a good, I'm telling y'all, it's just like whipped cream. If you like making cakes, you'll love using this. It's like spreading cake. Whipped cream over cake, or what is that, whipped icing? Oh yeah, love whipped icing. in editing this video, I'm going to be like, I've never done a video where I've actually talked before. So this is strange, where you have nobody to talk to, no questions to respond to. Well, okay, so I'm going to give this a smooth texture. And you can probably, out of a jar, you know, this you want to use sparingly, because this is the cream paste. It's going to be, and I've done a few of them before on the texture molds. That's why you want to get it just right. You don't want it too thick. You don't want it too thin. And you don't want to waste your stuff. But you do want to make sure, like with these, because of the fact that it has a, you know, it's just like, if you look at it, the 3D folders are just like the texture plates. Although I do like the texture plates as well, because I have all of them. Well, not all of them, but I have a lot of them. And those are really, they're a nice big size that you can use it to cover your project with. Plus, they go along with whatever paper line that Stamperia has. But there's also things that they don't have. So, for that, we're just going to use craft expediency. And craft expediency is use what you got. So, I'm using my 3D embossing folders. And because I've been doing a lot of mixed media, I haven't used these a lot. So, it's like, okay, new uses. We always find new uses for our craft items. Okay, so I'm spreading this. And I want to get this part right here, because this part seems a little thin at the top. So I'm going to get that part. So what I'm going to do is, when I finish spreading all of these, then I'm going to stop this video and let these dry overnight. And then I will come back to you tomorrow. Alright. Alright, so next thing is we are going to try, and I just thought of this, so we're going to try the mixed media stamps. So we're going to do the same thing. We are going to use the Stamperia mixed media stamp. So I think I think I'm going to use these two, because if you remember, you can use the silicone mixed media stamps, and this is the gears, and this is another stamp that I used, and I actually used resin on it. And this has been fully dried. I've had this for when I did the resin, learning about resin on my channel. I used resin, and then I took some waxes and went over it. So you can pour resin, but you got to make sure it's like a thin layer, and it's going to get all over the place. So you got to make sure, because I'm a mess when I try things. But you can put this on a flat surface, on a canvas, or whatever you want to do as well. So, but as you know, it's not flexible. So I can, if I bend this, it's going to break. So I cannot bend this. It has a little bit of flexibility because where the area is thin, it has a little bit of flexibility. But if I bend it any more than that, it's going to break. The cream paste is very flexible. This one is the feather, the elephant, the half gear, and the moth. And then this one right here is the steampunk news, because I have something I want to do with that as well. So here we go. Let's see if this works. And again, you'll have to have patience, because this will not cure for a whole day. Well, at least I wait a whole day, which is very hard for me because I really have no patience. When they invented the heat gun and I could dry stuff easily, oh yeah. So the thing with this, you got to make sure it gets into all these nooks and crannies. Again, not too thick and not too thin. Okay, here we go. So I've already let them dry. So let's see how they came out. So this is the Cogs and Wheels by Tim Holtz. It's mechanisms. So now what I did is I put it out in the sun because it was nice and hot and sunny today, and let it percolate there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go around the edges, and it's not going to be perfect. So if you're expecting it to be seemingly perfect, it's not going to be. So what you need to do is you need to go around the edges and make sure that you don't have any edges sticking up, and then just kind of peel it back. You do not want to go fast with this thing. So I am just making sure all the edges are peeled. And then I'm going to start lifting it up. Now, you can do this with texture paste. You can do this with like, what is it, the gel paste. So this is nothing that's specific to cream paste. Although, I kind of like the cream paste because, one, it's flexible. Two, you can paint it. Now, when you're painting and drying and putting medium on it, you do not want to put the medium dry it like directly on it because it will buckle a bit. Alright, so once you got it going good, then what you want to do is you want to carefully peel it back. And again, it's going to, unless you put it out in the sunlight for a length of time, or you let it dry overnight, you do not want to do this because you will get a bunch of gook. And it will not be dry, and it will be hard to get out of your mold. I mean, not mold, sorry, your embossing folder. Like right now, it's peeling up clean. And whatever remnants is left is easy to peel off. All right. And there we go. Now this, you can paint. You can paint. You can spray, you can do whatever. So, I'm going to peel up. So, that was the emboss side, the embossing side. Now, this is the deboss side. So, both of them can be equally used. It just depends on what your preference is. Okay, so the edges, if you get some on the edges, you just want to peel it up. There we go. And there we start this side. So, and if you see this, the stuff you have on the edges, that comes right on off. See, it peels right on off. So, don't get frantic if you have them all. You still have some cream paste on the corner. It easily peels up and comes off. And if it tears a little bit on the corners while you're peeling up, that's okay. Alright, so now that I got it started, I want to start peeling it back. And if you got it too thin in some places, it may rip a little bit. If you have it too thick in some places, you may have to pull it out a little bit. But as you can see, it comes out clean, so it does not ruin your embossing folder. Okay, I'm kind of liking, wait a minute, all right, this is the deboss side, sorry. This was the deboss side, this is the emboss side. And you want to make sure, again, you do it carefully and evenly. It's just like when you peel like paper or wallpaper, you want to do it even because it will rip a little bit. Especially if you have some thin areas like up here. That was a little bit thinner, so. And that's the emboss side, sorry. That's the emboss side. And here's your deboss side. This is Foundry. And it feels just like a little piece of rubber. And it is tough, but you don't want to go pulling on it. That's one of the things. You pull on it, it will pull apart. With enough pressure, it will pull apart. Alright, so here we go. And like I said, if you do just even Steven pulling, you shouldn't have any issue. If you see that something's about to get stuck on the corner, then you can stop and pull it up. So, there we go. And that's the trick to this thing, getting it started. Once you get it started, it should be, if you have an even layer of cream paste down, then it shouldn't be too much of an issue. Okay, here we go. And on some of the parts where it's like, you know, it's a little bit deeper, it's going to pull a little bit. That's okay. It ain't going to tear apart. You just give it a little pull, and you're good to go. And there's this side. And again, you don't have anything in your folder. What you'll have to do is clean up along the edges. And that's pretty much it. So, I'm going to put that one up. So, emboss side, and then the deboss. You can roll it up, you can do whatever. And I'm going to show you what I did with this. On this, I've already painted one. Now, one thing that I did notice when you start using it, if you're going to do heavy mixed media, like, and I will show you what I did with it. Now, I did this one a little bit too light, so we're going to see how this comes up. You would want to make sure that if it's something that's going to take a long time to dry, I would let it dry on its own. But it does take medium well. It does dry. It will dry flat, but if you leave the heat on it too long, it's going to bubble like paper. But just like paper, you can put tape or glue on it and it will lay flat again. Alright, now this is my Crafter's Companion 3D Floral. Okay, so you see where it started to tear a little bit here? So what I'll do with that is I'll go and I'll just scrape it up a little bit, hold it, and then pull it. And that should end that tear that was beginning. So that's why you want to go pretty slow with pulling, because you don't want that happen, and then it'll tear right across your your thing. Now this is an amazing, amazing, amazing embossing folder. And I've used this a couple of times on projects. But look at that. I don't know if it's upside down. Nope, it's not upside down. So that's that one. Isn't that amazing? Now imagine what you can do with this once you start painting it. Oh my gosh. I'm going to put that over there. Can't wait to see what this side looks like. Alrighty. Now this is the deboss side. And it's equally as beautiful. So the deboss side, you'll get the raised edges here on the clock and on the outside, whereas here you're going to get the raised on the flowers and the timepiece. These are coming out so cool. I love it. And I was sitting here thinking about this because I have a project. So the project that I wanted to do, I wanted to use one of these folders. And but I didn't want to use paper because I knew I would be putting some medium on it. So oh yeah, I got some stuff on the side. And watercolor paper, just sometimes it won't take the stamping good or the embossing if you emboss it and then you start to work with it. Sometimes the embossing will not hold. It will start to get a little flat. So when I was using this with the A5 molds from Stamperia, I was like, well, shoot, you can use these in embossing folder. Now, I've seen people use texture paste in embossing folder. So I was like, well, why not the cream paste? Sculpture paste, all that stuff. Oh my gosh, I love this one. And this is the deboss side. And upside down there. Oh. Yes, I'm having so much fun with these. You know, just as long as you don't continually heat it and you move it around, you know, like that. If you just hit one spot and leave the heat gun there, then yeah, you're going to have some problems. But if you continually move it and don't leave it there too long, or if you have patience, unlike me, because I don't, so yes, I am going to use the heat gun, then you can let it dry overnight, depending on what you do. Of course, you know, the acrylic paints and gesso will dry really, 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 really fast. Let's see, this is where it's getting hooked onto the end, so that's why you want to give it a good start because you don't want it to tear. The gesso will dry really, really quick, so you really don't need to use the heat gun too long on it. And did I get all the... Nope, I didn't get the side action up here. Alright. There we go. Oh, this is so cool. And here is the embossed side of it. Now this is really cool. I thought the deboss side was cool, the embossed side. And these are the Crafter's Companion. This one is the Crafter's Companion Sheena by Sheena Douglas. And these are the Floral 3D embossing. Oh, see how that's starting to tear? That's because I have stuff on the side right here. So just fix that, just pull that up. Then I would hold both of them together and then pull it from there. And you should be fine. And that is this one. And I think this is Wisteria or something like that. But that one's cool as well. Here is the other side. It's going to be good. You can fold it. You can wrap it around. So you could pretty much do anything with it. All right, so what I did next is I demolded a few because I needed to see if it was done. This is the other one. It's the roses and the barbed wire. And this is the emboss side. And that's what that one looks like. And then this is the deboss side. All right. So I did it on stamps. It's not as successful on stamps. But so I did it with the Adonis mechanical animals. And that's what this was. So I poured it on top, and so this is how these came out. Which some were pretty cool, and I'm still going to use them. Is the elephant. And if I can show you what it looks like there. So that's what it looks like there. And then that's what it looks like there. And then this is the moth. This is the feather. And then this is the top piece. And I did this one really, really thin. And this is how this one looks. These are mixed media stamps. I would not do this with your regular acrylic stamps because you're going to get some of the cream paste on the side. But again, these are mixed media stamps. So again, I pre-did this one and lifted it up so I wouldn't be all day trying to pull it up. Now with stamps, it's a little bit more difficult because of the fact that most of the stamps have raised edges so that they can stamp. I mean, you can still do it. It just, to me, it doesn't come out as good as the embossing folders. But it still can be done. And again, I'm taking my time and I'm rolling it up. Ooh, that was real thin. And these are a little bit harder to roll out. I mean, they're rolling out because it's dry. Once they're dry, it's all going to come out anyway. It's just if you want it torn or in one piece. So that's why I'm doing it this way, so I'm not tearing it or putting more pressure on one side. So here's your stamp. Your stamp is good as new. So it's not going to ruin your stamp, y'all. And how great is this? Yeah, I like that. Isn't that neat? Okay. This is Steampunk News. And this is from my stamp. And this is what I love about the cream paste. Now, I don't know about I have not used, the glue or anything else. But look at that detail. And it's not even slightly raised. Look at the detail that the cream paste gets in every crevice. That's why you saw me carefully go over it and over it and over it again, because I wanted to make sure it got into every little crevice. And there are some parts where it got thin and everything, and that's where you got to be careful. Look at that. That is too cool. This is the first time I did it with the stamp. I'm pretty pleased with myself right now. And if you're wondering, I just finished watching Game of Thrones. How bad was Arya? I knew she was going to be the one that was going to kill the White Walker King. So this is the butterfly. And it picks up every detail. That's a stamp. This is the elephant. And that's a stamp. Look at the detail on that. I just want to say, look at the detail. This one didn't turn out so much because I think I was running out of cream paste on this one. But this is that edge. And it's going to look better. And you may not think it's going to look like anything right now, but wait till you see what I did with it. That's the feather. And then here are the embossing folders. The emboss and the deboss side. So here we go. So this is the emboss side and this is the deboss side. And I love that barbed wire. Now this is the Crafter's Companion Floral set. 3D embossing folder floral. And this is the other one that comes in the set. And you have your emboss side and your deboss side right here. Isn't it cute? Now I know your crafty minds are spinning right now. Yes, they are, because I know mine was. And I find this really much easier because I've done it with, well, texture paste. You know, it'll kind of break up or whatever. Emboss, deboss. And this one is so flexible. Like, literally, you can use it on any project. And once you glue it, it glues. I use mixed media glue. And I used cream paste in the 24-hour YouTube hop. World of Heart. And this one I freaking love. This is the other folder. This one is absolutely gorgeous. I'm definitely going to be using this one. And then this is the Tim Holtz. And I used the A5 texture molds from Stamperia as the background with this cream paste. Look at that. Oh, wait till you see what I do with these. And these are the mechanisms from Tim Holtz. And I also did something, and I will show you. Let me see what I did with that thing. I did there is a mechanisms stamp from Stamperia, and I poured, and if you haven't caught the resin YouTube video I did a YouTube video on resin, and I poured that one. And I just did a thin coat of resin over top of the mixed media stamp. So, I don't know what they make these stamps out of, but they're freaking awesome. I have poured resin on it. I have poured cream paste on it. We'll see what else I can pour. Anyway, this one is semi-flexible, but if you have to wrap it around something or cut it, it's going to be very jagged. Now, and this was my first one, so I probably should have cut it to what I needed it back then, but I'll just use it as a, you know, so I can do like this, but if I try to go any further, it's going to snap in half. It's barely flexible. If I cut it a little bit, it's just going to snap, and it may not even snap in the way you want it. Like if you wanted it as a circle, you might not get a good circle. So my suggestion, if you're going to pour resin on your mixed media stamps, and they haven't done anything to it, I've stamped it, it stamps very well, then I would suggest once you pull it up to go ahead and cut it to whatever shape you're going to use. But if you don't want to mess with resin, cream paste will be your next thing, because look how awesome this is, and you can use it on anything because look, it's flexible. I took the Foundry from Sizzix. Look at that. And I painted it. I waxed it. And I rusted it. And it's not warped. It is a little bit right here, because I used the dryer on it, but I didn't do it too much. After I dried it with the gesso just a little bit, then I went over it again with the wax, and then I put my Rust Effects on it, and I probably did 2 or 3 coats of the Rust Effects and dried it, and it did not hardly warp at all. But you got to be careful, I'm telling you, because right here where I was trying to dry it a lot, I found that it bubbled up just a little bit, but you'll have a piece, you know, when you glue it down or whatever, it's going to glue down flat. So I wasn't too much worried about that. But from, and we'll get perspective, and it feels like a piece of paper. It almost looks like a real metal. So this is the, how it comes out, the cream paste. And this is the same item, all paint.